But first to the latest Newspoll revealing Peter Dutton is falling further behind the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, with Labor's primary vote reaching its highest point in more than a year, as voters remain unconvinced that the coalition has the better policy platform. Labor is now comfortably ahead of the coalition on a two-party preferred basis, sitting at 52 to 48%. And while both leaders suffered blows to their approval ratings, Anthony Albanese is still well ahead of Peter Dutton as preferred Prime Minister, 52% favouring the PM, while only 36% are opting for the opposition leader. Now, this latest poll has shown that the sudden uptick in support for Labor comes as voters see the government as more capable than the Liberals of confronting key issues facing the country, while more voters believe that the coalition is better placed to grow the economy and has the better defence policy. When it comes to the important cost of living issues, well, Labor is ahead. Labor is seen as better placed to deliver cost of living measures, to provide better quality health care, and more people trust Labor than the coalition to deliver lower taxes. Joining me now for more on this is Sky News contributor Prue MacSween. Prue, that last one in particular is incredible. You've got more voters who believe Labor will deliver lower taxes than the coalition. That is, I think, a crisis point for the coalition.
It really is, Rita, but it's not surprising. When you look at how morally corrupt this whole campaign has been and how inept the coalition has been in espousing and revealing its policies, one can understand why it's going this way. You have lies and spin from, and it's blatant lying from a Prime Minister and his cohort about the state of affairs. And you have people who are crying out about the cost of living, but who will still vote for this government, who has inflicted, I think, self-flagellation on these people, because that's what they're going to be doing if they actually vote Labor. And then you have an asleep at the wheel coalition where you have the leader, Peter Dutton, who used to be a strong leader, the strength we all are crying out for, who's become the flip-flop man, the apologist. And, you know, people in the back room have obviously leaned on him and told him, oh, you can't do this, you can't say that, you know, just go down the line, wimp it out. What we're crying out is for leadership, and instead we have these ridiculous situations where we don't know all their policies. They're rolling them out now. Half of Australia's on holidays and totally disengaged. It is the worst campaign I've ever witnessed.
It has been so lacklustre, so disappointing, given what a crucially important election it is. We're not just in a cost of living crisis, we're facing all sorts of other pressures. And we've got the real prospect of Labor in a minority government with the radical Greens. That's what's facing the nation. And despite all that, we've got this lacklustre approach from the coalition. Yep. It really is quite incredible. Talking about incredible, there was a debate of sorts on the ABC. Housing Minister Claire O'Neill and her coalition counterpart Michael Sukkar faced off in a heated debate, Prue, and the incredible part was really the antics of the ABC host Sarah Ferguson. I'm going to play you what Claire O'Neill herself posted on her social media platforms. Even her cut of this makes the ABC look utterly and hopelessly biased.
What would your mother say, hearing you interrupt her? I'm going to ask you one more time, and everyone is listening to me ask this question. Sure. How many social and affordable houses will you build?
Well, we will fund social and affordable houses. All right,
that's it. You're not answering.
Not getting an answer. You'll get an answer out of me. Now, our government has come into office. We are building 55,000 social and affordable homes over 5 years. 28,000 of those homes, Michael.
What would your mother say?
Prue, let's have a look at how the ABC is promoting the debate, as they called it. This is the headline they've gone with: Sukkar shut down during wild election housing debates. Yeah, he was shut down by the hosts mainly. Can you believe the tone of that interview? To have the interviewer ask a grown man, how would your mother feel about this? As if he's picking on a child in a playground. We're talking about the housing minister, a senior minister in the Albanese government, debating her counterpart, and the intervention of the host there, I thought, was astonishing.
It was. How patronising, how condescending of Sarah Ferguson. What would her mother say about how she treated a Minister of the Crown and how she accepted the lies, the spin from Claire O'Neill? I mean, if she'd bothered to do her facts, and in fact AAP Fact Check has said that, you know, they've only delivered something like 119 homes out of the 4,000 social housing homes they promised since 223. So for God's sake. So maybe he got it wrong, although he's still disputing that he got that figure wrong, that there were no houses built. But the point is that it was an ambush, a setup by the ABC. We all knew that this is the line that they probably take, but how patronising, how disgraceful it was. And again, another example of the bias of the ABC, who we are funding and promoting, for God's sake.
And if the coalition had any guts, they would actually do something about it. I mean, they're in power, and perhaps even in the election campaign, to say, we are going to cut spending on this absolute activist outfit that is superfluous in the capital cities. Yes, it's needed in some regional areas, but the rest of it, we're just having taxpayers funding leftist activism. Yeah. Now, let's check in on the social media campaigns of the major parties. We'll start off with Labor. Claire O'Neill, we just heard from her. She loves giving these lectures whilst she's doing the laundry. I don't know where the cameraman is, where she's put her phone, but it's very curious.
Let's talk about something that Peter Dutton really doesn't want you thinking about right now. They want you to think that their plan to let you and your entire generation raid your super is going to help you. But here's the real truth. For women, this is a terrible thing.
Now, the Labor candidate for the seat of Wentworth, Savannah Peake, she seems to be channeling Mary Poppins.
Hi Wentworth, don't forget, vote 1 this election for Savannah Peake and Labor in Wentworth. It's going to be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Why? Don't ask me why. Let's check in with the Libs now. Here they look at Albo's habit of supporting every second AFL team.
I've always stayed loyal to the Hawks because you can't change teams.
So no bandwagon?
Absolutely not. I've been a Hawks fan for many decades.
Give it up, Albo, no one's buying it.
Authorised by Ahurst Liberal, Canberra.
Now, their counterparts in the Nationals seem to be doing a better job.
G'day. I might vote independent this time.
Oh, here you go.
Oh, no, that's Albanese.
Yeah, that's right.
But I want an independent.
You get an Albo too.
I don't want an Albo.
Are you worried about costs?
It has been very expensive.
Sorry. This election, every independent comes with an Albo, whether you like it or not.
If you care about cost of living, don't forget, a vote for an independent means a vote for Albanese, and none of us can afford that. Authorised by L. Follow, the Nationals, Canberra.
Prue, I don't know. I mean, they're all pretty boring in my mind, or just some of them are a little bit bizarre. You're the expert in this area. What do you think of those ads? Do any of them speak to you?
Well, I'm now aware that Claire O'Neill likes to air her dirty linen and laundry in public and, you know, smear people. I noticed quite a few smalls in there, which is a huge worry. And then we have this Mary Poppins weirdo in Wentworth, which will not go down well. I thought the only good one really was, as you said, the Nationals, because at least it really drove the point home, but everything else was really quite pathetic. But sadly, it's targeting Gen Z and millennials who spend their whole life online, and this is why these campaigns are so effective, because they've tuned out to the rest of the media and they don't care about what the policies are. They'll just either identify a face or a name, and that'll do. You know, this is why compulsory voting is so bad in this country.
Now, we know housing policy is enormously important. We know immigration and immigration numbers, really, I think it's been an underreported story in this election campaign. It's an issue people care passionately about. And you might remember this exchange on the ABC's Q&A program last month, where a father on the verge of homelessness pled with Labor to address Australia's housing crisis.
I'm already working 2 jobs, one more rent increase, and my family, my 1-year-old baby, we're facing homelessness. Is the government going to cut immigration to match housing availability, or are we just going to keep going until every regular working Australian is homeless?
Well, that man's name is Morgan Cox, and he's now taken his cause directly to the Prime Minister out in the front of his $4.5 million beach mansion in Copacabana. Have a look.
I'm here at Albo's $4.5 million mansion. We've just driven down his $100 million road. We're here on behalf of 3.5 million other Australians who are struggling, who are in poverty, facing homelessness. All we want is to be heard. All we want is for the politicians to listen to us.
Prue, he makes an excellent point. You shouldn't have Australians working 2 jobs, working hard, and facing homelessness because rents have skyrocketed thanks to daft housing policies, both at state level and federal level.
Absolutely, but the problem is, Rita, that while it's a good stunt, he's a great marketer, those of us who have incredible sympathy and understanding for his plight will resonate with, but the problem is that we all know that there is a crisis in housing, mainly because of the Big Australia policy of this government, but they're allowed to get away with it. When you look at the travelling media pack with Albanese in particular, when he makes a statement that is blatantly false, hardly any of them, if any, ever take him to task. And, you know, we know that there is a housing crisis, but is anyone asking him about why he is letting more people in? Why has he only delivered 119 homes out of the 4,000 he promised in 2023? I mean, he's not being held to account, and this is the problem. And until we have a situation where politicians are made accountable, then we're just, and it should be at the ballot box, but clearly people have bought
and the coalition. But the coalition needs to make this an election issue, and thus far they have absolutely failed to do so. They need to be coming out with a policy that differentiates them dramatically from Labor. 80% cut for 3 years for the next term. It's got to be something that dramatic to really have an impact and to give people a clear choice. Prue MacSween, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Pleasure.